I'm trying. I'm trying.
Test, test, test. Okay. You can hear me? Yeah. I don't know how. That's fun, though. Okay, well, the quality content we're all here for is exactly right. Well, if you can hear me, that's great. I think you may be able to even see me. Uh, Realistically, I actually don't have any control over anything right now. This is kind of fun. Essentially, my browser thing that runs all this stuff is in the middle of refreshing. Let's see what happens when it comes back. It's been a great day. Been a great day. It's a great day here at Domain to Profit. I am Drew Wash, and this. I'm glad that people can hear me, but I don't know if this is a very good format for podcasting. Let's see if we can actually get out of screen. Window. So the downside is I cannot control. So here's what I'm going to do. I think I have enough control to actually do something. I appreciate everybody standing by with me. Yes, I am indeed working on getting things back up and running, and this is interesting. This has been fun. Okay, the quality content that might be up on. Okay, there we go. Woo! If you had any clue what the I just want to show you. I wish I could just grab the camera, yank it around, and show you the chaos that that just ensued. This has been a lot of fun pulling this all together. It is every week. I'm kind of curious. Do any of you do a live stream or any kind of podcast or anything, especially live? Because you have to. This is a one man show, so I don't have any kind of engineers or anything like that around trying to help me out. So when the shit hits the fan, Drew starts to refresh and plug things in, and so thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate y'all. There is one person missing today. This is Domain to Profit. I'm Drew Wash. Glad I have sound. Thanks for everybody that bared with me the 6 minutes of audio trouble. I will see what happens from here on out. One person that's missing today is Lee Lovell. You know Lee, he's in the chat all the time. Well, he got married this weekend, and he's off for a couple days with his bride, Charlotte. So congratulations, Lee and Charlotte. We'll miss you today. Don't worry, we'll keep the chaos up without you. But maybe I froze again. This is going to be excellent. This is going to be fun. Okay, well, let's go to the screens. Let's go to the domains. If we're going to have issues, let's at least have issues with content that we all came here for. I see myself as frozen, but you know. Yeah, did you not know that? Yeah, Michael, that's right. He's there's a reason he didn't make it out to the. There's a reason he didn't make it to the show today. So. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to this view. I'm going to maximize this stuff out. And we may just have to have multiple cameras up. I don't know where I'm going to look because stuff's messing up. And in order to have audio, I'm running audio through a secondary channel, which hopefully works. So I apologize for the multiple cameras. I am trying to get to domains. I want to get to the domains. Okay, like that's what we're after. I'm going to skip the. This is fun. Welcome. Mikkel, I'm guessing. I don't know if I've ever seen your name cross. Welcome. It's usually not this bad. It's only this bad, like every seventh show or something. Okay, back again, on again. We have sound now. Sound's back. Hopefully we keep sound. Video's frozen and things like that occasionally. But again, let's get to the domain names. That's what we're all here for, is to actually have the domain names and see some stuff. So I'm over on expireddomains.net, and expireddomains.net is the free service that we use to look through domain names. As you can see here, I am on expireddomains.net, marketplace domains, GoDaddy expired domains. We can look around at other places. All of these different tabs give us access to other expiring domain lists. For the sake of this show, though, we kind of stick with GoDaddy because it gives us the most. So to set up our filters, I'm going to get rid of the numbers, the hyphens. I am going to take a deep breath because this has been a fun, eventful moment. I am going in here, changing it to English 1 to 3 words. And so ignoring that. And then we're going to go over to the additional tab up here. And we're going the .com because we want .com. So .com is what it is all about. We want to make sure that I'm gonna dare to test something. So let's find out what happens here. 1 second. Thought there was a chance that the sound was coming back on in the primary. So once we have all those filters set up, you'll see that we're going to go from 400,000 domain names down to, I don't know, I think over 100,000 down. Let's see, 105,000. So if you picked over 100,000, you won. Congratulations. So Darcy's asking, and hopefully I did say that well, Mikkel, is what I believe on that one. Following on Twitter, I do appreciate that. And first time on YouTube, yeah, YouTube, it's the way to go. And you get all these cool people in the chat, which especially right now, when you possibly only hear me part of the time, it's probably good that you're talking to them. And then what did I buy this week? I don't know. We'll go looking to see what I bought this week a little later on. I don't think I actually bought anything. I had intentions of buying something, so maybe I can share that and let you know how I let somebody off the hook and get away with a cheap domain. So over here on the top of the list of the GoDaddy expired auctions, the way this works, we look to the domain names. The ones that we believe are good. The ones that I believe are good, I click on, we check them out. We talk about a business that you can put on that domain name. And if I miss something, if I skip something, then, well, you can shout it out in the chat. I can analyze it and tell you why I skipped it, or we'll talk about it because sometimes I just miss things, when you're looking through this many domains. Clubbers don't like it. I'm guessing a lot of people out there, especially some of your domain investors, you're like, clubbers, oh, that's so much fun. People go clubbing and they're clubbers. The question I have is, what would you do with it? So that's having a great domain name is not as important as having a great domain name that you use. So some things that you could possibly do with the domain name like clubbers.com. I think, if you organize VIP guest lists, or maybe you allow people to register as somebody who goes to clubs, and then maybe you hand out coupons or backstage passes. I'm obviously not much of a clubber. I've always hated clubs. I prefer to actually be able to hear and talk to people. But I know there's a lot of people that do it, and it is an industry that is based on that whole who's in, who's out, who's prestigious enough to be in this section, this roped off section or whatever. So clubbers could be a way of keeping track of those who are in the inn, some kind of mailing list, something like that. The appraised value, as you'll see over here, GoDaddy's thinking it's worth $12,000. Ends in a day, currently $450. Hey, as a domain investor, if you're looking for a project, just looking to play with something, then sure, clubbers could be a fun domain name to build out. Maybe get some VIP tickets to some cool parties or something. I just don't see the money. I don't see the revenue. I'm sure there's stuff there. I'm not seeing it. So in that case, make sure you share your ideas in the chat, unless you're thinking about buying this one. In that case, I completely get it if you stay quiet. I will probably bid on this domain name a little bit. I'm going to add it to my wait list. So as you're probably seeing, I changed my mind really quickly. So I did not think I liked it at first, but it could be fun for a project. The only thing is for me to have a pet project, it's more of like a $600, $800 domain name. I would not cross into four figures on the domain name. Now, on the other hand, if you know me, then you know that I am a huge fan of this domain name here, which would be the next one on the list here, Asphalt Paving. And the question is, why do you think I actually like this domain name? Anybody? I would love it if it was paving.com or asphalt.com. Together, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do love it because it is a local business, local service business. I have a driveway out in front of my in my house. The first part of my driveway is blacktop or asphalt, depending on what you call it. I call it blacktop, and it is deteriorating quickly. And I'm kind of always been looking for okay, who can I get to come resurface this or whatnot? Well, where do I go to find that? I have no clue. I'm going to Google it someday and find it. But I would love to also have a domain name that I can build a directory out for it. So maybe Asphalt Paving could do it. Let's go to SpyFu and type in probably even saying that wrong. Do you really pronounce it asphalt? I feel like I'm saying ass. Is that just me? Wow. Okay. This is why I type stuff in. So 7,500 searches for that. That shocked anybody other than me? That shocked me. 7,500 searches, asphalt paving, 7,500, asphalt paving near me, 2,100. Okay. I didn't like it as a 2 keyword combination, but evidently it's genius. And look at this. If you watch the show, then I love to see lots of advertisers, and I love to see it in the double digits. So what do you think I think about 20? Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Boom. Michael's hitting it. Wow. So this one's definitely going to get a pretty good bid from Drew. I didn't like it. So here's what I would do with this. Realistically, just like I have the problem. So if we go to the 3-minute business plan, which you can find this over on this over here. The 3-minute business plan allows us to kind of break down a domain name very quickly. So rather than just listening to Drew's ranting and raving, you can instead use this to kind of follow along a little bit. And what it allows us to do is look at the problem, the solution for that domain name, so we can talk about the market a little more closely. So what I was referring to was the problem is, where can somebody like me who has a driveway that needs to be worked on, where can I go to find somebody to repave it, re-blacktop it, and work on that driveway? Obviously, 7,500 people are out there looking and asking the same question every single month. And then if you look, there's 20 advertisers trying to say, hey, pick me, I'll pay for this. $5 cost per click. This is a profitable keyword. So here's how this works. Problem is, people are looking for it. Solution is, hey, asphalt paving allows those 20 advertisers to get an opportunity to be in front of customers. Well, they're going to be, right now, they're bidding on keywords on Google. They're mixed in with all these different people paying $5 per click. It's a freaking blood. It's the bloody red waters of a competitive local business. So what we want to do is give a few companies an opportunity to kind of rise above the rest and be a featured company on asphaltpaving.com. That's what we're out to do. That's what we've done with towing.com, photoboost.com, djs.com, and others. We are just trying to share that domain name, build a basic business, put it out there so these local businesses have a way to compete. And 7,500 searches. Let's go back to the actual auction. 4 days is when this ends. Already up over 1,600. And this is where it's funny. Google is appraising this one about the same as clubbers.com, which this one, let's say you don't know what you're just here. You kind of stumbled across LinkedIn or YouTube, and you're like, this Drew guy is talking about domain names. We can only hear him occasionally. But when he does talk about domain names, he talks about building them out. I don't know anything about asphalt. I don't know anything about this stuff. But the people that do, those 20 advertisers that are paying Google right now, the many local companies out there that hang those signs up on the telephone poles around here. I don't know if they do that in your area. Here, there's all kinds of signs up on telephone poles, side of the road, that are like, we do blacktopping, and here's a phone number. Those companies need a place to advertise, need a place to have an internet presence without going through all the hoops of building out a website. So here we come with asphaltpaving.com. We're just looking for what, $20, $30 a month, maybe a few $100s per year from 100, 200, 300 companies per year. And voila, we have a great passive income from a premium domain name. For the sake of it, I'll just take it into, I may play around with this a little bit more, but just to get the party started, already outbid. So we'll come back to that one some other time. But asphalt paving, I love it. It's for the local service business domain name. That is a business model I hang my hat on. It's what pays for it's paid for my house. It's paid for anything I have, pays for all the travel and things I do. Local service business domain names, right there, asphalt paving, right off the bat, number 2. So what do you think? Would you do anything unusual with it? Matt's talking about, he needs to, I have to get my asphalt done every other year. See, I've owned my house for 20 years. I think I've only had it messed with once. So he's a better homeowner than me. So that's okay. Well, now you'll be able to go to asphaltpaving.com. Hopefully, if one of you pick it up, you'll develop that out in a way that benefits the world, benefits those local businesses. All right, so let's keep on going. I wish you guys could see what's... That's not going to work. I guess I'm seriously going to have to keep like these screens on. Okay. What's essentially happening is the camera that's frozen, like over there, that's where the sound's coming from. And the camera where I'm actually moving, that doesn't have sound. That's the kind of freaking chaos that is going on right now. I love it. I love it. Blues Rift and B, watch me for the changes. Moral Compass sounds like an interesting blog. Farm Share. That's not bad, right? There's a whole industry around that, although it's kind of that high level stuff. So There's an entire farm share industry. Let's go type that into SpyFu because I may not know what I'm talking about here. This sounds like a job for Peter Askew, the internet onion man. He seems to be like perfect for farm share. Farm share near me, farm share events. I don't really know anything about farm share, which is why I'm looking over here on these questions. How to value a farm share in a family farm, how to farm share cropped, who pays for farm soil, grid test crop. Nice thing is what this is showing us. We're seeing 1,700 searches. That means our people are looking for this content, for something related to farm share. See keywords related to local. So 1,200 are looking for farm share near me. It's good to see. I like seeing that. And then we also have these questions over here. I don't know what most of these mean, but what these show are ways that you can answer questions on your new website that, yes, you may not. I don't know anything about farm share. You probably don't know anything about farm share either. But what you can do is answer these questions to create a little bit of traffic, create a little bit of momentum for a brand new domain development project to where hopefully you're able to start generating the 1,700 or a couple thousand searches on a monthly basis, starting to get some momentum. And this is the downside of this. One advertiser, cost per click, $1. Not much really happening. Ooh, I do like seeing this though. So here's some options. We can do farm share, could list out farmers markets. I've talked about that. I would love to have a domain name that did that, help out, local farm markets and things like that. A directory of those, find those around you. Fresh produce. I saw some of those keywords down there. A lot of local search. We're just showing local content, localizing it on this domain name. So we take this giant, big domain name related to farm share that could be global. Who knows? Like it's all over the place. And we try to break it down to where when people are searching, they're finding content that matters to them in their local area. Farm shares near me, farm shares or farmers markets. Let's go and click on that. Let's see when it ends, how much it's going for. $570 ends in 5 days, well, 6 days nearly. $10,000 is the appraisal. I'm guessing that one's going to go for low 5 figures, and you could probably make low 5 figures. You get that for $1,200. Farmers markets, will they pay? I don't know. It's going to be a passion project. Hopefully you like farms. You like farms? I like food. I like fruits, vegetables. I'm down with that. I'm going to add it to my watch list. That's some pretty good domain names we got so far. Even like Moral Compass, I'm passing up. I'm not even talking about that. But how many times do you hear people say that? Oh, using their Moral Compass. Accept credit cards. I'm sure there's going to be some big money going into that. There's for merchant services, things like that, that could do something like that up on that. I'm not a big fan of it, but if you're big into, let's go ahead and let's run down through it. Doesn't matter whether I'm a fan or not. What we're trying to do is just look for domains that you may benefit from. So this one ends. I didn't set up the filter for 7 days. So this one will be there next week as well. So I'm going to breeze over this one real quick. Accept credit cards. Sounds like a good place to have affiliate links for merchant services. So to where people can come, small business, starting something, they show up, they can choose the different merchant services, places that will allow them to take credit cards. They click on a link and then they get some kind of commission, or you can just sell merchant services through it. So credit card terminals, things like that. Big money in those industries, a lot of it because there's reoccurring commission. So as long as you're selling them and those people use them, part of some small fraction of the transactions that happen a lot of times are paid out to the people that sold those units. So there's big money in accepting credit cards and selling those things. We'll talk about that next week, I'm guessing, a little bit more in depth. But since it ends in 8 days, not a big fan to Not a big hurry to mess with it. And this is exactly what I was thinking as well, Chris. He's mentioned if farmers markets won't pay, which I agree. Like I think that listing farmers markets would probably be more along the lines of you do a free directory of farmers markets to get the traffic to become where people go to find farmers markets. And then you use that as kind of a top of a marketing funnel to where that traffic now has a way to engage with others who are paying you to be part of your market. So yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Farmers markets, they're lucky to have a $200 vinyl banner that they use until the wind blows holes through it. Organic greens, that would go pretty well with a farm share. I avoid product type domain names most of the time. If you have a product or you're interested in a product, sure, go for it. What I like to look for though is passive income. When you're dealing with products, a lot of times you're dealing with inventory, you're dealing with shipping, you're dealing with all the headaches that come from dealing with physical products. I get excited about doing it, but I only want to do it temporarily. I don't want to do it for the rest of my life. And that's what you're signing up for if you're going down the path of creating a product and selling it. Insurance specialist. Click on it, give it a look. 6,500's appraisal. What we need to do is go over to SpyFu. Singular, right? Yes, singular. I can't imagine anybody out there searching for insurance. Man, I am just like missing big time. I keep thinking nobody's going to be interested or searching for this. And for probably the third time already out of like 5 domains, taking my foot, putting it in my mouth, because yes, insurance specialist is searched over 1,200 times. For some reason, Florida insurance specialist is some interesting content, as many searches as insurance specialist by itself. How much is a specialist visit without insurance? Oh, okay. So now we're talking about like medical specialists. I don't know. I try to avoid health insurance because that just sounds like a freaking nightmare. But 10 advertisers, so we're double digits, $4 per click. You'd have to dive into what the heck the content you want to show. Some of this over here is referring to a specialist visit. So somebody who, deals with feet only, what podiatrists, optometrists, people that just all those specialists. If you're dealing with medical stuff, that sounds horrible. I don't want to deal with medical stuff. But if you want to, then who knows? Let's see what the price of this domain name is. Currently $278. I would prefer to go the idea of we specialize in commercial trucks, or we specialize in collector's cars or something like that. I would prefer to keep it at a industry where it doesn't deal with medical. So, but there's something there. I mean, there's 1,200 searches, and then whatever the heck's happening in Florida, 1,200 more there. Ends tomorrow, $278. Possibly somebody out there is into insurance domain names. There is good money in insurance domain names. I don't know about specifically that one, but you also find a lot of, if you go to what's the Commission Junction, I believe it is, cj.com. They have a great two-character domain name. Commission Junction does have some really high referral affiliate rates, some good commissions and things like that, to where if you can get customers to some of those companies, there's money to be made. I just don't know if insurancespecialist.com's the domain name to, be that front end for you. But if it is for you, go ahead and mess with it. If you can get that for low 5 figures, I'm guessing there's something there. You'll find that a lot of times low 5 figures is where I kind of hang my hat anymore. I like to, it's just, say you get it for $1,200. That means if you can get that domain name to generate $100 a month, you'll break even in a year. But of course, I know you're ambitious. I know you want to make more than just $1,200 or $100 a month. So you kind of see it. Of course, you have to develop it. You have to actually do something with it. But yeah, I agree with Michael as well. Just a lot of good names. I mean, I think we only went like 2 pages down or 2 scrolls down. That's crazy. And yeah, insurance is very competitive, which that's how I found domain names. Is I found domain names through. I wanted to. Hopefully, the audio still works when I do this. I found domain names through the need to compete in a highly competitive industry. So I was dealing at the time with spy software. Was one of the first times I really noticed domain names mattered. And spy software, it was super highly competitive in the search engines. All of us were doing all these different games and all these little hacks to try to rank high. And then somebody came in and bought spysoftware.com. Don't know what's on it. Don't recommend you go to it. But back then, that gave him the advantage to really jump up in the search engine rankings. And from there, it's like, these domain names matter. A lot of people say, oh, they don't matter as much as what they used to. Yeah, that's true. Google used to rank them a lot higher than what they do now, but they mattered then for the same reasons they matter now, because customers type them in, customers trust them more, especially the .coms, and your customers, if they're businesses, trust them and see them as an opportunity to gain an advantage as well. Craft school. Smartidea.com. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's ending. Okay. Here we go. $1,500. Smartidea.com ends in 22 minutes. So by the end of the show, we'll see what it's going for. Crystal. Yeah. What do you think about smartidea.com? Yeah. I'm asking my wife, getting her opinion. Any idea of what you would like as far as a price? It's currently $1,500. Oh, wait, she just said I can do more than that. I'm guessing it's going to get outbid. So let's do a little research on this. Don't be bidding me up. Hit me up in the messages if you are bidding on Smart Idea. Well, let's see what's out there. Okay, only 270 searches. Smart home ideas, smart plug ideas, smart business ideas with low investment, aka domain to profit. Maybe. Oh, wait, is that what it is? Is it start? Oh, you're right. Boom. You just saved me. You just saved me, Darcy. I owe you a cup of coffee whenever we see each other at a yeah, Matt mentioned it first, actually. Okay. Okay. So it's start idea, not smart idea. I don't like it nearly as much. I withdraw my interest. It's withdrawn. Interest is withdrawn. Okay. This is one of those interesting days where I feel like everybody's saving my butt, right? I think I've had 3 different domain names that I said, oh, I'm not really interested in this. I type it into SpyFu, which is spyfu.com, which is what I use to get those statistics on those keywords, I use the free version. You could use it as well. And you'll see suddenly I actually like the domain name. So that's why we have to use data. Data matters to us. We can't just use our instincts. Instincts sometimes are wrong, as well as our eyes sometimes also see things wrong when it comes to, start idea instead of smart idea. Okay. Back to the domain names. I appreciate everybody for saving me. I was ready to just type in spend a bunch of money on a domain name that I didn't really even want. That's the power of domains. I love this stuff. I wish we could all just do this in person. If we all live in the same place, we all get together in a room, just oh man, check out this domain name. We can like pull money and pull bids and like some kind of crazy 1980s, 1990s stock markets where we're all like buy, sell, like maybe. Cloud messaging. That is a thing. I'm not going to mess with it because that sounds a heck of a lot more technical than what I like. Flower man. Although actually, if you think about it, like us in cannabis, do we have our cannabis guy on or girl? I guess I don't know. CBD cakes, I think. Not seeing any comments, but flower man, I could see that being a good domain name for people that like flower, which is a version of cannabis. It's what people used to buy in the old baggies, flower. Project mate sounds like the old trapper keeper people. Yeah, and this is a good, this we don't run into this very often, but what Darcy's referring to here is he's copying and pasting the domain name to avoid misspellings or reading something wrong. That is freaking genius. That is like, so here's what's happening, or here's what could happen, and what Darcy, this tip here, I don't think I've ever actually even mentioned this, but this is an important thing to do because I will tell you, there are certain sites that when you look at the auctions, they might have international characters in the domain name. We have talked about international characters one other time, but there are times where is it a zero? Is it an O? Like, is this like, are they trying to trick you or don't fall prey? What Darcy is saying is if you copy and paste that domain name into like Google, what it's going to do is it's going to kind of show you if something weird is going on. One of the things that we do already is when we set up the search features and we set up English 1 to 3 words, that does help us. It at least gives expireddomains.net, they're kind of filtering that for us a little bit, but it certainly does not prevent us from thinking it was smart idea instead of start idea. So that's a very smart idea, Darcy. Thank you. Yeah, and here's an example like L, like lowercase L looks like an I. So Island went for like $5,000, but it was actually Elsland. Okay, you gotta it's the caps and all those different things. There are some tricks you do want to check it out. They do come up pretty often. Some places that you'll see that a lot will be Snap Names. NameJet, I think, does that pretty frequently. There's a couple auction places that's more common than not. So you'll want to, just a very good tip. Check the domain name, type it in, make sure you're looking and reading it right. So when we go over here to back to our list, for example, this domain name is that. What if that was a lowercase L? Right, that's what he's talking about. That's what Darcy's referring to with Island, but Elsland. If that was a lowercase L, we're reading it like insurancespecialists.com. It is in this case, but there's a chance that somebody's hiding in a character or something like that. So certainly a good tip worth mentioning, and that can save you a bunch of money. I once told a story about a long time ago. I thought I was buying a single character.com, but it was an international character, which you cannot find on a keyboard. So you'd have to do like Alt and a bunch of different stuff to get to it. And I thought I was getting it for a steal. Should have known better because it was an international character. Ended up losing a little bit of money. Actually, it was on eBay, and eBay allowed me to get out of the transaction. So thank goodness. Back then I was broke. I was one of the first. I didn't know what the heck I was doing with domains at all. So if you're there, make sure you're double checking things. Bet partners. Indoor farms. We had farm share. Track flow is interesting, but that's more of a crazy clean. Same thing. Like those are probably more brands. Craft school again. I guess I hit maybe the wrong way. Yeah, with the wrong way. Hey, let's hook up.com. For all you kids out there, that'd be a great domain name for you. Coach Talk, tongue cancer. My Minute. So one of the domains I purchased a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned it last week, was mycommitment.com. My Minute. I love but My Minute doesn't necessarily doesn't make sense. Shoes Off, more of a brand. Pools Factory. So I think that really kind of falls in that middle S that I warn about pretty often. So with Shoes Off, I think that makes sense a little bit. You take your shoes off. You don't take a shoe off. Pools Factory, Pool Factory. You don't need the middle S. That middle S is just kind of just there to trick people into thinking the domain name's better than what it actually is. So use caution when you see those middle S's. Things come. The phrase, I love sayings. I love phrases that we all use when we're just kind of BSing with our friends or family. Oh, things to come. I think that's something, right? That's a saying. I own rhetoricalquestion.com. I bought that one from domain name. My goodness, can't even remember where I bought it from. I wanted to give them a shout out, and I'm failing, so I'm just going to skip rather than go searching for it. DNWE.com. Is that what it is? DNWE. Josh and Josh run that site as a way of kind of selling domain names at wholesale. But I was really happy to get Rhetorical Question, which is funny because my freaking 6-year-old daughter always walks around like, Dad, that's a rhetorical question, as if she has any clue really. Like she has an idea, but she doesn't really get it. But it's so funny to hear a 6-year-old be like, rhetorical question. And I'm always like, you know who owns that domain name? I own rhetoricalquestion.com. Good stuff. Okay, end results, tablet review. There was a time, maybe a couple years ago, where this domain name would be the kind of domain name I would definitely steer towards and recommend. That's not the case anymore. I don't really like. I would prefer rating over review. But certainly there's something there if you're into that, if you want to write content. I know there's some writers. I'm not sure if anybody here is a big fan of writing or not. But if you're a writer and you want to write reviews, there's a reason why Angie's List is called Angie's List. It used to be reviews by somebody named Angie, and now, of course, they're a giant company that just rebranded as Angie. Anyhow. So if you like to write, forget sending your content over to Yelp or to Google. Write your own reviews and create some content, a blog that matters. The Trilogy. Dun, dun, dun. Business boards. I don't really know what I'd do with it. $33, ends in 3 days. I don't know. What would you do with business boards? We saw support boards, I think, the other day, like a couple weeks ago. I don't necessarily know what I would even do with support boards. Let me reopen that tab. Okay. Let me see. And again, if you see something, Valve Index is a product. Valve Index. Oh yeah, right there in the middle. Thank you. I have no idea what that is. It's a product. So I don't know what it is. I would completely pass it, but Valve Index. Holy what? Okay. Well, Matt, that's a pretty good domain name. I'm guessing that's going to go for a crap load of money. Now, the only thing is since it's a product, let's take a minute. That one's going to end in 8 days, 20 hours. So 9 days. So we'll be seeing that one We'll be seeing that one next week. But as you can see, what we're looking at here is valveindex.com. And that one has a crap load of searches because it's a product. So what we want to do is I'm going to go over to the US trademark search. So if you just do a search for like US trademark search, you're going to end up coming here to uspto.gov, which gives you access to the trademark search. I always like to go here and just use the test system because the government can't just call it freaking trademark search. What this allows you to do is do a basic word mark search. If you're really worried or if you mess with trademark domain names, you will want to have a lawyer involved. This is just something to help out a little bit. But what you can do is Valve Index. And yeah, trademark for sure. So you can see there's lots of live trademarks. So if you want to quickly lose your domain name to somebody filing because they had a trademark already and you bought their domain name, that's a domain name you can mess with. So don't mess with it. Okay, let me remove any ambiguousness from it. So these are pretty cool. If you've ever looked at trademark searches, it shows you like the word mark. You'll see that there are trademarks. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to avoid them altogether, because a lot of trademarks are kind of BS. But you have to understand that if there are trademarks on something, that you have to use a little bit more caution. In this case, Valve Index doesn't even make sense. The only reason all those people are searching for it are because it is a product. It is a trademark. Do not mess with valveindex.com. But thanks for pointing it out. It gave us a good opportunity to talk about some interesting white hat hackers. That might actually be a pretty good domain name. So in white hat hackers are hackers that hack for good. They look for problems, flaws in systems, so that way they can either get a reward or expose a vulnerability in something. So there are searches for it, 1,400 searches. What is a white hack? There's some good questions, some very basic questions referring to your domain name, essentially. No advertisers, no money being changed hands. Not sure why. That could be because Google bans it, but if not, maybe Google just doesn't want to accept money from it. But that means that if you are into cybersecurity or just kind of hacking things around, maybe that could be a good domain name for you. Put up a blog, put up some directories, link to some services. I avoid that kind of stuff because I don't want people to like test my website and find vulnerabilities. Like, that sounds like it's inviting a headache. I don't want to invite headaches. Customized insurance. I like that one. That one's kind of a good domain name. I've already talked about insurance domain names. So just kind of take everything we said about insurance, plop in customized insurance in it. We are coming up towards the end. A lot of great domain names today. I wish we didn't have all the hassles that we had for tech issues. So I need to. I went to Baltimore a few weeks ago. Did a show that was remote. When I did that, I had tore down most of my equipment here to take with me, and I've never gotten it back up and running at 100%. And last couple of weeks has been fine, no big deal. This week it bit me. It bit me. Took it too far. And my laptop's not charging. Just feel bad for me. It's really tough being me today. Not really. Car shed. That sounds like a fun. I mean, it's another name for a garage, but let's see if anybody. Sounds like possibly a brand. Car shed, 3,000 searches. Car storage shed, 2 car like. Okay, how to build a car shed. 6 advertisers, low cost. Not a bad little domain name. I like it. I like it because it's short. It's short. It's sweet. 2 words. Boom. Even though it's 2 words, you're still only looking at 7 characters. I like that. It is a product, but there's also a little bit of a service aspect to it. So, you may not sell the products or services, but you can have a directory that allows people to list themselves as people that sell or build car sheds. Makes sense. I'm going to add that to my watch list. That ends in 7 days. So during this show, actually before this show airs next week, because we'll be back live 3 p.m. next week, this will end before then. So carshed.com, kind of a fun little, if you're an auto head, sponge balls. I got nothing. Actually, I'm guessing there's a product for that. I don't know what you'd use them for, but. So here, as we're wrapping up, I'm going to go over to GoDaddy and look to see what I bid on last week. I don't remember really bidding on anything. I remember missing out on a domain name. I don't think it's going to show up on my list, actually. Oh, I remember what it was. Float. If you remember floatstudio.com, I really wanted that domain name, and I planned on participating in the auction, and there was nobody bidding early. So I held off on bidding and then got busy and missed out on it. So I didn't even bid on it, but I wanted to get that domain name. Hopefully somebody here, one of you got floatstudio.com. Local chamber. I'm going to add that to my watch list. I'm thinking local chamber of commerce. The reason why that is getting a click from me is I view a lot of what we can do as domainers. So let me bring this up a little bit. I view what we can do as domainers as better than the local chamber. One of the first things I did when I started the business was join the local chamber of commerce. I was like, oh, it's what real businesses do. And then I kind of realized that was pointless. That was a waste of money. There wasn't any benefit to us for doing that. What I really was hoping for was to get some business from the other members, and that's why a lot of people join, but really that it's not a thing. But what we can do with domain names, especially these local domain names, is we can provide some basic exposure for these local companies to where they're showing up in the public, and then they can interact with each other. And then if you add another layer with that vendor section, that idea that, okay, farm share companies or trying to think of some of these other domain names, car shed. Well, go with car sheds. So these companies that sell car sheds or build car sheds, let's say that what are the services that they need? So these businesses that are doing this, they're going to need maybe a credit card payment processor, acceptcreditcards.com. We saw that one. That one will be mentioned probably next week as well. So they might need merchant services. You can put that in the back end of your website, and now you can sell directories for merchant services. All these different services. So you can build a directory on the front end for the purpose of like providing what the local chamber of commerce does on the back end, which is helping them get discounts for groups and, things from workers' comp, insurance, and payment services, as well as accepting credit cards. All those things that the Chamber of Commerce does, there's nothing special that they're really doing. You can do the same thing through your domain name. So that's just one of the reasons why I kind of highlighted that. I like to say that what we can do as domain name owners and developers is compete and beat up on the local chamber. So maybe I can illustrate that by owning localchamber.com. Maybe. Smart drugs. I wish that was smartdrugs.com. That would be freaking baller. Okay, let's go over to GoDaddy. We will look. So just to let's run through some domain names here. Let me just highlight some of the domains that we have went through. So we had local chamber. I just kind of talked about that one a little bit, more of a just interest, just because I'm interested. Carshed.com if you want to build or sell garages. Valve Index if you want to lose a bunch of money to a trademark. Business boards, and I didn't really talk about it, but you can do forums or something. Start Idea, not to be confused with, wow, that's up to $1,800. Start Idea, which is not honestly that great of a domain name, but Smart Idea would have been. Uh, Insurance Specialist, we saw insurancespecialist.com, as well as Customized Insurance. We saw that one up there as well, I believe. A couple good insurance domain names, a little on the outside of it, but could be that entry point for you to get into insurance. Acceptcreditcards.com. We'll talk about that one next week. Farmshare.com. We talked about that one. Farm shares being, people sharing the land to do different farms and things on it. There are entire industries. We talked about maybe farmers market directory, that kind of thing on it. Then, of course, the one I was super excited about, which was asphalt paving. I'm going to analyze this one a little more in depth when I'm not live, maybe participating on that. So I don't know, tweet at me or direct message me if that's something you're really interested in. We can kind of talk about it when we're not live. I do like that domain name, and especially the 2,700 searches that it had. And clubbers.com. We skipped over it a little bit. And let me bring you this bonus. If you've stuck with me this long, for those who are out there, I forgot about this one. Unfortunately, I didn't find it until too late. Let me log into my SnapNames account. Go over to my auctions. And one of the domain names that came up over on snapnames.com is vips.com. Anybody out there, are you in on vips.com? You're not able to join this anymore. The way SnapNames works is you need to join before the domain name expires. But vips.com, so vips.com is up for auction over on SnapNames. There's 423 different people in on that auction. I am on there. It's already up over to 33,000 because it's 4 characters and a pretty damn good domain name. I would expect to see that one go for. I'm guessing it's going to go for like 75,000. It could go over 100,000. It just depends. It's just we'll see. We'll see. I'll probably bid on it a little bit just in case it goes under 50, but I do anticipate that one's going to go high. But hey, if you love it or something and you're not in the auction, maybe we can chat. Maybe we can partner up on it or something like that. As well as I see Darcy mentioning in the chat that he is in on it as well. So there we go. 2 of the 423 people. That is a good domain name. So just like we talked about clubbers.com being like, maybe it's where you can kind of register and like create a VIP program for clubbing or something like that. VIPs.com, same thing, except for way expanded. You're talking VIPs for fancy restaurants, wine clubs, VIP for concerts and clubs and all those different things. There's so much you could do with the domain name like VIPs.com. The only thing is this one's going to price out as very expensive. It's going to be a very expensive domain name. It's one of those things where if you play at a high price level, you'll want to make sure you have a good line of credits and things like that set up, because these kind of domains do go for quite a bit of money. Investors will tap out. Who knows? It's hard to say. These domains do not come up very often, so it could very well go for 6 figures or more. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm not sure where I'm going to be at it. I could see it going for 6 figures, but not on my pocket, not out of my pocket. So that's just one of the bonus things I wanted to mention. I'm glad I remembered to grab that for you. And then let's go over to auctions. I don't remember if I bid on any domains last week. I'm pretty sure I did not win anything. Let's see here. My Commitment was the last one that I purchased. Bought My Commitment for $16.25 back at the end of November. So yeah, did not win anything. Let's see. Oh yeah, I did bid on Help Me Sleep. I bid on that a little bit. I did not win. As you can see, that one went for over $2,000. Not sure if any of you bid on that, but I did like that domain name. Just not $2,000 worth of it. I liked it more for like $800, which I may have bid on it during the show. So there you go. Let's see, watching. We got Farm Share, Car Shed, Local Chamber, and AcceptCreditCards.com on the list. So there's all the inside track of Drew's auctions happening this week. You know, I share mine. I welcome you tweeting at me or DMing me over on Twitter what you're bidding on or whatever else. I love this stuff. This is what I play with. So if you have not, you should over on YouTube subscribe to the channel. I haven't done it in a while, but I do sometimes go live without notice. So this is my set 3 p.m. show, but I do go live every once in a while. I've been feeling it. I've been feeling like going live a little bit extra. So make sure you've subscribed over on YouTube so you get notified when I go live, as well as like the video and follow me on Twitter because, I don't know, I talk NFTs and I talk domain names. And you're here, so you must be interested in at least one of those things. So probably worth following. I appreciate you all. Again, congratulations to Lee and Charlotte on your wedding. Very cool. Thanks for visiting with us typically. We'll miss you, and we'll see you next week, as well as everybody else. Thanks for dealing with the technical difficulties that we had at the beginning of this. I'll try to sort them all out by next week. I appreciate you all. Have a great week. I'm Drew Wash's Domain to Profit. And until we meet again, I'll play the video.